How do you know if you've got the right price on your eBay listing? And how do you know when it is time to put more money or testing into a product before you sell it, before you list it online? And when does that just not make sense? So the first thing we're going to do is hop over here to a listing I've got going on right now. This is the Ameritron AL80HF high frequency amplifier. It has this tube in it. Did a video about that. You can check that video out right there. But this listing, sometimes you just have a listing that's not striking and not hitting with people for some reason or another. But this listing is actually getting views. I got 95 views and 5 watchers. So that's great, actually. In a couple days to have 5 people watching this is fantastic. I'm thrilled about that. I'm thrilled that it's got 95 views. However, nobody's reached out to me to ask more questions, and nobody has bought this. So what do? Well, one thing I did was I shortened the title. This title was getting cut off before. It had original in here in the title, original version or something like that in the title. So it pushed this tube that is in this, which is a nice tube that people want to have in these amplifiers, kind of like pushed that off so that you couldn't see that. I'll show you that here, right here. So if I revise this and I say here, original version, and hit revise, see how this 3-500Z, well, actually it's a ZG tube, not a Z. So when you search for this online, depending on the format of your screen, that might get pushed off the screen. Now, I know that they're not necessarily going to be looking at it at this width, and maybe it is cut off, maybe it's not cut off, but I thought it better to just drop this original version part of this title so that I could get that tube version in front of people instead. And people can look at the picture and they can see it's an AL80. So, you know, that's not a B and not an A and all of that. So I think that can be a help. So let's do that, and let's leave that there like this. What I did on this was I dropped it by $50. So I went from 1100, well, I dropped it by 51. I went from 1100 to 1049 on this. So hopefully that will, I should see maybe some watcher increases here. I should see this view count continue to go up. We can actually look at the trends. If we see traffic history, we can look at the trends, and it's kind of like dropped off, right? So it's not trending as much now as it was. So hopefully this price drop will get that in front of those watchers, and they might be interested. Now, cool thing was that another product that I listed, let's go back to overview. This right here, this IQ8300ZX clone, this one sold very quickly, actually sold in an hour and 24 minutes. This sold, and for more than I was originally going to list it for. I was going to list it for $75, and I ended up listing for $125 after I did a little bit more research on this. Research is so important. Do not chimp out. Don't go cheap on the research side of things. Put a little bit of time and energy into something. So that research paid off. This sold very quickly. In fact, I probably could have got $175 for it, but there's just not a lot of these online. So it's very hard to gauge the price of that. If I had started higher, I might have been able to back off and sell it that way. Now, I'm going to jump over back to my camera here. And I've got this right here. This is a Sony TC55. It's in fantastic condition. It powers. When I put the battery back in here and press play, we can see that. I don't know if you can see that the meter is moving. So the meter's coming on, but it's not actually turning the it's just not turning the spindle to turn the tape. So what do I do about this, right? So a little bit of research online with this one, and let's just hop over to the Amazon. So over here at the Amazon, we can see that we can get this belt kit for this, which is probably the problem. Probably the belts need to be replaced, but I don't know for sure. I could actually start digging into this and then finding out, oh, it's a lot deeper than I thought. I'm pretty confident that I could take it apart, replace these belts, put it back together. That's, I'm good with electronics and repair and stuff like that. So I feel pretty confident about that aspect of it. But what I don't feel confident about is, can I get the price that I'm hoping for that? So let's do a little bit of research on that. And let's start to just try and dive into, is it worth it to get that belt kit and try and get this thing working or not? So let's hop over to sold items, and we see a belt kit okay. So here we go. Rare. Wow. This one has, this one has the box and everything. That's really cool. So let's open that up in a new tab. And we've got this one that sold for $36. Let's open that up. This one's $39. Wow. This one sold for $239. That seems good. And this one sold for $110. All right, let's start with that highest price one, because we want to get as much money as we can for this thing. So I'm going to go to see original listing, and let's take a look at this. Got to scroll down to get to, actually, let's look at the pictures first. And they've got a video here as well. Looks like they've got a video maybe of it working.
My whole body feels relaxed, warm, and my mind is quiet.
It sounds like a book on tape. Okay, so they've got this working. So let's jump down to the description and see what they say here. As you can see from the listing, of taking a video of it working. When I tried captions, sometimes the player not working properly. When I press play, rewind, fast forward, sometimes the belt seems to not catch, and I have to press and repeat buttons and wait I want until it catches. Okay, so there's an issue going on with this one, but because it was working, look at that, sold for $239. They did offer free delivery, so that's cool. $239, and it's still got some problems. So that might give us a hint. Let's go to this other one that sold for $110. Works great. Sometimes rewind button won't rewind. Okay, so you have to press it slow and it works. Okay, so this one's got probably a belt problem as well. And this one still sold for $110. Looks like all of the same things, except I do not have that power adapter. Did they have that power adapter in this one? I didn't see it. So is it worth doing the repair on this? Is it worth taking it apart? So the belt kit, we saw we could get a belt kit for $20 right here, set of 4 belts for the TC55 or 56. Do they still have more of these? They actually do have more of these. It sounds like it's probably worth it. Let's do the see original listing on this one. This is untested. They didn't even test this. If they tested it working, I bet it would have sold for north of $200. This one's $36. Let's see what this one says. That's just the buttons on top. They probably should have tested it. Maybe would have got more. It sounds like two things are going on here. One of those things is that the buyer wants to have as much information as possible. If they know that the rewind button has to be played with a little bit to get it working, then they might be fine with it. It sounds also like if it's really close to good working condition, that it's really going to go for a lot more money. And if it's like untested, unknown, that it's going to go for a lot less money. Case in point would be the one that's got the box with it that's untested. This one, I think here, that said it was untested. If they tested this to see if it was working and what was maybe working or not working, I bet this would have got $200 here. That's just a guess. So being that that's the case, I think I am going to go ahead and get a belt kit for this. And when that comes in, I'll start digging into this tape recorder and see if I can get it working. Now I've got another one over here on the shelves. But this other one I have is a micro. It's a micro cassette, and it's got a cassette in it. And this one doesn't have any batteries in it right now. But this one, you can also hear it starts to come on, but doesn't end up playing anything. I think this one's got belt issue too. But wow, is this thing small? It is so cool. I love this old stuff like this. It's so well made, and it's a metal case and everything. It's just great. But I hope that this helped you kind of encourage you maybe to do a little bit of research before you just start digging online. I want to maximize my sale. And if I maximize my sale with this, I might, if I just try and sell it as is, like this, I might get maybe $75 to $100, somewhere in there for it, untested. But if I take the time to dig into this, to at least be able to get the main functions working and then sell this online, I could get $240 for this. So that's the difference. So you got to figure out where that line is that you don't want to cross. I don't want to lose anything. I'm not going to lose anything by trying to repair this. For $20 for belts, I'm just not going to lose anything. This is still going to be, it's probably worth it just in parts anyway. So I'm going to try and repair that before I go any further. Researching product or whatever, trying to figure out any of this stuff, then I know it can be confusing. And eBay's a huge marketplace. Don't just assume and take face value. Start to dig into listings. And I'm glad to help you on your electric treasure hunt. All right, you all have a great day.